As I've always said, there is nothing positive in coup. If coups were that useful, Africa should be the most developed continent on earth. Because out of the close to 200 coups recorded around the world in the past 50, 60 years, more than half happened on the continent of Africa. So if coups actually bring anything positive to countries, Africa should be the most developed, most successful continent. That is evidence that coups don't bring anything positive to the people. It enriches a few people who will come there, claim that they are fighting for the majority. The majority will never see the benefit of that, but they, the people in charge, will live large. You can't ask them for any accountability because it's a military regime, and no accountability works under any military regime. So people glorifying coups are just not being guided by the facts and the data. Any advanced country around the world did not develop by coups. And Africa is as poor as it is because we actually use coups to interrupt the development process. And if you observe, you can check developments that took place under military regimes and compare to the democracy that we even are not satisfied with. If you compare and do a comparison, you realize that even the democracy that we say we are not satisfied with, there's more progress under the unsatisfactory democracy compared to the military regimes. And therefore, I have always said that it's inimical for anybody to even entertain coup makers because it brings nothing to the people. However, I remember President Mahama's inauguration and a coup leader was invited into this country. And young people were celebrating him, and I said, celebrate him for what? What will you want to celebrate a coup leader for? Then, when this in opposition, were praising it. Today they are in government. The first one happened in Guinea, and then quickly the foreign minister issued a statement condemning it. I support the condemnation, but see, you don't celebrate it when you're in opposition, and when you're in government, you say you are condemning it. You see, what we need to understand that no matter how bad the democratic process is, it's still better than a military regime. Because as I said, under a military regime, it is so difficult to ask for anything called accountability. There will be no stretch for you to go and petition for anything under a military regime. There will be no parliament under a military regime. No minister will be called to parliament to come and account for anything or to come and answer questions. The judiciary they maintain, they control it and use it for their own purpose. So no matter how bad the democracy is, you can go and complain to Shiraj if something happens, you are not happy. Parliament is there and can call appointees to come and answer questions. And there are so many things that democracy offers. What we are all complaining about is that we don't seem to see the speedy infrastructure development of our countries, the speedy elevation of reduction of poverty in our countries under a democratic regime. And that is what I have always said, that if we want Africa to be what it is, if we want AFTA to work, if we want to reduce poverty, no one country can do it. Okay? What we need is to say that if Nigeria has the capacity or the largest oil production in West Africa, Ghana does not need to have a refinery. All countries that are producing small oil, let's all go to Nigeria, and Nigeria be the hub of oil production. If Ghana is the gold production country in West Africa or in the whole of the Black Africa, let smaller countries send all their gold to Ghana. Let's have all the gold refineries. Let's have all the things that we can do with gold happening in Ghana. If Ghana and Ivory Coast are the producers of cocoa, let the two countries be where anything about chocolate and cocoa and everything can happen. When we begin to work with this kind of synergies, they will create the kind of prosperity that will lift the continent. But when we are scattered individually and we think we can do it ourselves, and we have a small refinery in Ghana. It's not doing enough, so now we import from Western countries. Ghana Ivory Coast produces the cocoa. We are not able to grind all the cocoa and convert it to chocolate, and we export the raw beans. That is where our poverty lies. We are actually selling what will make us rich at a very cheap price to the Westerners. They convert it into final products, and they sell it back to us at an expensive price. And that is why we will never grow. So this after thing that we have been doing, I have realized that if we are not careful, we are going to impoverish ourselves and the after rather than enrich ourselves. Because now you see every African president going out there and is now telling the other continents that, oh, we have 1.3 billion people in Africa. We have created a free trade zone called after. You bring your money and come and invest. If the foreigners are the ones that will invest under after, all the proceeds from the investment goes back to those countries. So the dream of after making the continent richer is not about inviting foreigners to come and invest in Africa. It's about looking at the synergies. How can African countries, looking at each country's strengths and weaknesses, how do we then leverage on the strengths of the various countries? Maybe 3 or 4 countries can come together and have a strength in a particular area. They work on it, they create opportunity, and then if people migrate from other countries to come and work in that sector, there's no problem, because it is an African conglomerate that 4 or 5 countries who have the resources have come up together and say, this country has the largest resource, let's send everything there and let's make sure that we add value to it on the continent. When we do this, and that is where we'll be creating so much value. But when all that we are interested in is to sell our raw materials to the Western countries, there is no way we can elevate poverty, we can reduce poverty in the continent. It will rather be increasing, because what we need to reduce the poverty, we are selling them in their raw state to the Western countries, and they add value, bring it here, and come and sell it to us at higher prices. So on the continent, the bane of the continent is more about poverty. It's about what can we do drastically to reduce poverty. We sit in Ghana and we are importing chicken from Brazil and other countries, common chicken that we can produce even beyond what the continent can consume. Now we are using billions and billions of dollars. Check the import bill of Africa for only food. And you ask yourself, how do you live on a continent that has over 30% of the entire world's natural resources? You live on a continent that is green, tropics, that is so green that natural rainfall is normal. And then your food import bill is more than maybe your entire GDP of the continent. So there's no way coups will not happen, because these adventurers, they just follow sentiments and then bam. And then also the leaders themselves are problematic. Because in Benin now, I'm told, almost every opposition person is in prison. Almost every opposition person in Benin is in prison because of the current president. Patrice Talon. Everything, anybody that opposes or is an opposition is in prison. And then they went ahead now to say they have changed the constitution and extended the term. Wisdom is not in your head, you alone. No African leader can tell that the wisdom to develop his or her country is in his head, and therefore things must remain the same. He must only be the only person who should be president. That thing must be stopped. We should now let any African country leader change their constitution in order to stay in office. If the people have agreed that we are giving you 4 2-year terms, so be it. Don't go there because you are looting and enjoying power, and you realize that it's sweet to loot the public resources for your personal gain and for your family and friends and some girlfriends and whatever. You want to be there forever. No, the country doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the whole nation. So this idea of some leaders going to power and all of a sudden want to change the constitution to stay longer. And that is why somebody must be talking to Alassane Ouattara in Ivory Coast to stop the nonsense that is happening in that country. All right, thank you. We shouldn't entertain this thing. Because these are the reasons why when these adventures take over power, some of the citizens will be like, after all, we're tired of this person. But so they tend to support them. But I am going to change the constitution and say he should stay. When it's removed by the military, so be it. Very well, thank you.